How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Roller Coaster History Podcast. You are listening to Airtime Traveler. My name is Nathan Grace, and welcome to our Cedar Point trip report. I'm joined today by my wife, Haley Grace.
Hey, that's me.
And my dad, Jamie Grace.
Hey, that's me.
And this has been a long time coming. We've finally found the time to get this done, and we're excited to kind of share our thoughts from our trip to Cedar Point. It was the first time for all three of us, and so we'll be able to I think it seems like it's working on this end, so the microphone that we're using, the mute button is like, it glows red even though it's, I think it flashes red when it's muted. That must be how it is. So we were just making sure the mic's working. So
mic check.
We're all good. So see, it looks fine over here on my end. So I think we're good. So well, this was a really fun trip we got to go on. A little bit of backstory of kind of how the trip came to be. So as most of you know, when we were planning out our park trips for 2022, we got Cedar Fair season passes, the Platinum passes. And so we had gone to, by this point, which, you know, you've heard in our other trip reports, but we went to Kings Dominion, Kings Island, Carowinds, and then I got to go to Knott's Berry Farm. Actually, me and my dad both went to Knott's Berry Farm. That was earlier in the year. And so Cedar Point was kind of the last one that we had to check off. Obviously, there are other parks that we weren't able to get to, but out of I would say the big five that Cedar Fair has, Cedar Point was like the last one we hadn't been to. So we had planned this later in the year, and we invited my dad to come because when, if you go back and listen to episode 1 of Airtime Traveler, when we talked about Powder Keg, I talked about the story of how I went on Outlaw Run for the first time. Well, my dad had been trying to get me on roller coasters my whole life up until that point, because he loves them and will ride pretty much anything, just like I do now. But I was a scaredy cat the entire time growing up, and I would never ride a roller coaster until I went to an amusement park with a pretty girl, and she convinced me to get on all the roller coasters.
That pretty girl wasn't me, by the way. So.
No, it was someone. I was in high school when that happened. I hadn't even met Haley, and so my dad's 50th birthday was last year, and so aging you on the podcast, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And so I had this. I had this idea to bring him with us when we went to Cedar Point, as kind of like, since I didn't get to ride all these roller coasters with him when I was younger, I could take him to what's considered the roller coaster capital of the world, and so that was our gift to him for his 50th birthday. And so that's kind of how this whole trip came together.
You mentioned it again.
Oh, sorry, for his birthday. Was it Mom calls it the? How does she phrase it? Like that 30th anniversary of her 20th birthday. Sounds better that way.
I'm okay with being 50.
So, all right. So the way we usually do these trip reports, we'll kind of do it the same way. Is we usually talk about, we start with food, which is Haley's favorite, and then we'll just talk about kind of the atmosphere of the park, and then we'll jump into any rides we did. Did we do anything that was non-coaster except for, I guess, the train?
Did some games and stuff.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else we did. We were there for, the three of us were there for a day and a half, and then Haley and I went for one more day after that. But because there's so many roller coasters there, we were just kind of crunched for time to get as much in as we could, and then get second rides on some of our favorite coasters. So I really don't think we did anything other than the train, and the train was more just because of the convenience of getting us to the front and the back of the park.
Was it convenient?
Oh, and I guess we did the chairlift too, but again,
that was
for
more convenient.
To travel down the midway. Yeah. So we'll start with food. So I was going through this. I know. I do. I remember this one. We did the backbeat queue that we did. I have no idea what I ordered, but I remember it being really good. I think So we always talk about it every time we do one of these trip reports of how the allergy, like how allergy friendly their menus were and how that was for you. So I'll let you kind of speak to that.
I definitely feel like they were pretty good. Some places more than others. To the level of some other parks that I've been to, you know, I feel like they could always improve.
They were better than Kings Island for sure.
They were definitely better than Kings Island. I still feel like King's Dominion kind of took the cake out of the parks that we visited for
2022.
Yeah, for just like allergy friendly things. But I do feel like Cedar Point did a decent job with it. So
yeah, because I feel like
a menu for you, like they just gave you this.
They did give me a menu.
You can kind of see exactly what it was. So
if I had questions too,
which was kind of how King's Dominion did it too.
They had like binders.
Yeah, King's Island was tricky because like it ultimately ended up being like you would just order the same thing at several different restaurants. Like there really wasn't much variety for you. But Cedar Point, I feel like every restaurant we went to at least had something that you could have. So
yeah.
So I think we did.
They were pretty accommodating.
Yeah. So again, I don't remember what I got at Back BQ, but I remember it being really good. Like I remember sitting there and just being impressed with it. Like I remember it being better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. So
okay, I can't remember what I got, so it's hard for me to remember.
I'm trying to think what something.
Can't remember what I had for breakfast.
It's fair. Very true.
What else we got here?
I am 50.
Dippin' Dots. Most of their stuff has dairy in it, but the one that is dairy free are their rainbow ones. So that was a sweet treat I was able to get, but that's pretty much anywhere I go.
Did we do this? The Miss Keats Smokehouse?
I think that you did, but I don't think I did that day.
I'm trying to remember which one that. It looks familiar. This is why
it was like the one that was kind of like hidden.
Oh wait, is this the one that's kind of like Chipotle? I think we did that one twice, actually.
What? I think you are right. If this is the one that's like the bowl thing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was really good, actually. I do remember
good.
that place being exceptionally nice, especially for...
Well, because you and I get Chipotle all the time because of how allergy-friendly they are for you.
So it was definitely nice, and that they were able to give me the binder and tell me like exactly what was in their meat to make sure that it was all safe for me. So...
I think if I remember correctly, the three of us ate there one of the days, and I think you and I actually ate there again.
I think
it kind of has a rustic feeling inside.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. The outside doesn't match the inside.
No, I think because if I remember correctly, I think
outside.
Yes, so I think the first day we were there, we went to go eat there, and they had closed already for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next day we went there for lunch, and we walked in, and we're like, "Oh, it's like we thought it was gonna be like meats and stuff because it's called a smokehouse, but then it ended up being like we were like, oh, it's kind of
like Chipotle. So
like we still ate there and still was really good, but I think we were just kind of thrown off by the name. It didn't really match what we thought it was going to be.
So it was really good though. I think I remember their guacamole being really, really good too.
I do think so. It mentioned that in the description. It talked about the guacamole in there.
Yeah, I think the guacamole was really yummy.
And then there was another one.
Gosh, I can't remember.
There's another one on here I know we had. The farmhouse. I remember us eating at the farmhouse. That was the... I honestly don't remember, but it's the one... Yeah, so it's the one that's kind of... It's over by Maverick and Steel Vengeance. Like I think you can actually... I think that's Steel Vengeance in the background there. So I remember eating here, but again... what was it? The comfy outdoor dining area.
I think I got like a steak bit.
We ate outside.
Yeah.
House made chili, flank steaks.
I think that's what I got. I got the steak thing.
That sounds right. I feel
so.
like you did that. So.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. Again, like they were pretty accommodating. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then. I think those were the only ones I think we sat down and ate. And obviously we grabbed snacks and stuff.
Like fries and stuff.
I don't know if there's any others that come to mind for you, but I don't remember being blown away by the food.
Yeah.
Not like some other parks we've been to.
Yeah.
But I remember being impressed with it. I was like, this is worth what I paid for it, I think.
Right.
But it wasn't like, I don't like Disney. Obviously, Disney is,
I feel like Silver Dollar City has really good food.
Dollar City's pretty good too.
I'm really excited for Dolly World.
For Dollywood, yeah.
Yeah,
Dollywood
I'm really excited for
really
Dollywood's
good.
food.
Looks like it's
Pretty much.
looks like it's pretty allergy friendly too. So
Yeah, from what I looked at, like on the app, like they like have, like it's very specific on their app. So, which I love because, you know, if they don't have it on the app, then it's hard for me to know. But, anyways, if you have stuff on the app that tells you what's allergy friendly and not, it's a big plus for me.
yeah, and like I can see that. I don't remember if the app was this way, but the website is very, like, you can see it has all of the dairy-free, egg-free, and this one says dairy.
They might have
gluten-free,
updated
vegan.
it too.
That is true. They may have updated it since we were there. So, but I think you remember we tried to go. I think on Friday we tried to go to like that loaded mac and cheese place.
Oh,
they actually closed it down this year. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
So
yeah. That was
it wasn't even open when we were there, and then over the off season they just tore it down. So I don't know if they tore it down or they started putting something else in there.
Yeah. Anyways, so you were so excited to try that place too.
Well, because they had it at King's Dominion too, but it was closed there too. So I don't know if maybe they're just getting rid of all of them. Maybe they didn't do well.
Mac and cheese bowl things. They did look good. I can't even have mac and cheese, and it looked good.
So. All right. I think that's everything for food. I think we can just talk atmosphere now.
Yeah.
I'll let one of you two.
I talked more food, so I think it's Jamie's turn.
From an atmosphere,
Yeah.
I mean, it to me. I mean, it just was an amusement park in that regards. I didn't feel like it was designed fantastic.
Yeah.
It felt like, oh my goodness, there's some footage over here, and I think we can put a roller coaster.
Yes.
And so it looked like it was just about how many roller coasters or rides or, food or whatever you want to put into a spot that they could do. And they did it, which is, and the same aspect was, that's great because they used the space that they had and they used it well. But from an overall theming or atmosphere type of, that aspect of it, the atmosphere is we're a roller coaster amusement park is what our atmosphere is. They did some things that were fun. I think like, when you first come in, the entrance and the ride that you see right there in the front.
Isn't that Gatekeeper?
Gatekeeper, yeah.
Yeah, Gatekeeper. Is designed well and fun as your entrance type of thing.
Right.
But a lot of things are just kind of like, there's a roller coaster and it almost feels like this roller coaster could even loop through this roller coaster and you wouldn't even know. Type of thing. Just all just squeezed in
all over the place,
everywhere. Yeah. So in that regards, but it was done for what they had and the space that they had. I felt like they did a really good job that way. So I really like the surrounding area too. Just
the views from some of the roller coasters are really pretty.
The views from the roller coasters are phenomenal. Seeing out on the lake, and you cross the bridge to get over to it, and just even the hotels and different things that were around it. I felt like it was a clean place that you wouldn't have any issues going and bringing your family and feel good. It felt family oriented. Yeah.
That's a good point that I didn't mention, but we actually stayed on property, which is something we hadn't done with the other parks. Well, it's not. I can't even remember. It's
Snoopy, something Snoopy.
It's like the value. I don't know. You'll know what I'm talking about if you're familiar with their resort. It's the Value Hotel that's just a couple miles inland from the amusement park. So, and yeah, I thought it was a really nice hotel.
For a Value Hotel, it was I had no
and like
issues
we got a discount with our pet season passes, so it was perfect. Like Yeah, I was perfectly happy with the hotel. So,
yeah, I was too.
So, and you just talking about like how clean and everything was like well maintained. That just reminded me of how nice the hotel was. So.
I'm usually not a big fan of hotels that are on property because they get so abused by so many people in it.
Right.
And that before I'd gone on that trip, before I met you guys there, I went to a couple places before, and I'd stayed at some place, and the beds were, just atrocious. Like bad. My back.
That's right. I remember that.
So worried that my back was going to go out or be out when I saw you guys and met up with you. But the beds were perfectly fine, so they didn't feel a run down anything. So even that for a value hotel, it was the beds were good. It was clean, so I have no issue staying at that place again. So
yeah. I think even the park was like super clean, like Jamie said, which I appreciate because I've been to places that are not well kept. So walking around and being able to not worry about anything like that was nice to know it was clean. So well, no, do you remember there was a place that we went to, and I can't remember what park it was, but there was like so many bees.
I actually think it was one of the restaurants at Cedar Point. I think it was...
No, this was like a whole park. And you know what? I think it was Idlewild, so you weren't even with
Oh,
us.
That's right. I remember you talking about that. I wasn't there for that.
That drove us crazy because it was like a kid-friendly park, basically all kid-based, and the bees were just... It was scary. I was like, one of us is going to get stung.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And the trash cans were overflowing, which attracted even more bees.
Right.
It wasn't clean. And, I probably won't take my kid back because of that,
I still got to get my 2 coaster credits at Idlewild.
They're pathetic coaster
I know they are,
credits.
but I don't have the credits.
They're like, compared to like...
Well, they have a little wild mouse coaster, and then they have like an old wooden coaster, and that's all they got there.
That's about all our cracked up to be, basically, too. There's not much else there. So...
It's a weird wooden coaster, though. It has like these plastic shields that come up on the side here to keep you from sticking your hands out the side.
It didn't used to be that way. Growing up.
No, they're not part of it. They added on afterwards.
I know.
Yeah,
growing up, they were not that way at all. So.
Let's see if I can find an image here.
That's how I remember it.
That's not on that.
See what
there it is. It's these big rubber pads that they put on the side of them. I don't even... It's so strange.
Go back.
Wait to the one that I clicked on. The
first thing
child plunges from roller coaster. Oh, that's a great headline.
That might be why they added that to it. That might be. That is scary.
Yikes.
I hope everything's okay with the child.
Yeah.
That was a scary thought process that they had to add that.
Yep.
Potentially because of that.
Yep.
Oh, good stuff.
Little Idlewild.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. Now you're really not taking Parker back.
No.
I'm not letting you take Parker.
No.
Yeah. So
it's sad. It used to be a great family park, and it's just super run down now. It's just really sad.
They must not get the
funding.
Yeah, not enough people going.
I think the same people own Kennywood, so a lot
it
of
is
funding
the
goes
same
to
company.
Kennywood.
I think that's what it is. I think everybody's going to Kennywood, so that's where the money's going. And since they're only an hour and a half apart from each other,
yeah,
I think people are just like, well, why don't we go to Kennywood?
Definitely more out of the way too.
Yeah. Well, so because Kennywood's close to Pittsburgh, but Idlewild's out in the boonies, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Anyways, back to
Cedar Point. I completely agree with you that the atmosphere is just kind of amusement park. There's not a lot of individual rides may have a theme. Maverick
was a cool
Maverick
theme.
and Steel Vengeance kind of have a theme. I mean, they're in the western section, but everything on the midway has no theme. Like Raptor is just a green roller coaster. Like
Bird theme.
Valravn has a cool station, I guess,
Yeah.
but other than that, it's just like they're just roller coasters. They don't really
Yeah.
have a theme, which I mean is probably what they're going for. And
The place that's over by.
That's how I designed my roller coaster tycoon
Yeah.
back in
Just-
the early 2000s.
yeah, it's just easier to do it that way.
The place over by like Gatekeeper kind of had a little bit of a theme.
Well, and that part of the
was
park
like
is
a
what they're
beachy
working on right
theme.
now because they're building that huge boardwalk right now.
Which I am
with the
excited
new,
for that.
With the new Wild Mouse roller coaster
Yeah.
over there. So that will look
Yeah.
really nice on the
Yeah.
beach over there. And this is something that you and I are actually going to talk about in our next episode of Airtime Traveler. So I won't say what roller coaster we're talking about, but it does have an impact on why there's no theming at the Cedar Fair parks. So
Okay.
tune into our first episode of season 2, which will be April 6th. But so you can learn why the parks are the way they are with Cedar Fair. But I think they're learning that they need to start adding more theming. So because like King's Dominion had their new themed area that they just put in.
Which is
But
great.
and then Cedar Point putting in the boardwalk over there. But yeah, for the most part, it's just kind of a lot of roller coasters.
Right.
So.
I will say, like, the transportation around the park, too, was nice.
I
wish
do
they
appreciate that
had-
because the park is like long and skinny, so
Right.
it's
I
like
do
a
wish
really
they had a little bit more. Like, I feel like the train could have had, like, one more stop. But that's just me. Like, I do
Yeah.
feel like there was still quite a bit of walking
It was
that
a
we
lot
did.
of walking.
So,
And I don't think they open the train until like a certain point in the day.
Mm.
So I think like if you want to go to Steel Vengeance first,
yeah, you have to, like, book
you're
it.
just gonna have to walk all the way to the
Oh,
back of the
thank
park.
Yeah.
So
Anyways.
a lot of exercise for sure.
I liked the fact that there was a lot of family-friendly rides too. Like, we didn't get to go on any of them just because of the time that we had there, but I do feel like there was a lot of different levels of like family rides throughout the park, not just in like the little Planet Snoopy place.
I think the only spot they're missing, which is probably intentional, is they don't really have any family roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think, as I'm just kind of thinking through the list, like all the coasters that are like for, like that people like Levi, like that size could ride, and maybe a little shorter. It's like all old stuff, like the Mine Train and Gemini, like stuff that is only in that range because that was as big as they could build it when they built it 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
So they don't really have anything like new that's for families. So
I wonder if like the mouse ride will be
that's going to be
the
and that's a good point. What they're building right now is kind of filling that gap, so that will be good. So.
Yeah, but I like I said, I do appreciate that there's like the different levels throughout the park, not just in that one spot. Because I feel like
it's kind of
if
strange
were-
that there's two kiddie sections that are like separate from each other.
Yeah.
Because there's the one by the beach and then there's the one that's over by Magnum.
Right.
So I don't know what that's about, but
I think it's just more opportunities like to take if you have
I
kids
guess
with
so.
you. Which
you're
I
like,
mean,
all right, I'm going to go ride Magnum. You can go
Because it's such a long way from
yeah,
between.
that's true.
Mhm.
maybe that's on purpose. So.
So, what I found strange is there's 3 carousels though. It's like, why?
Well, didn't we talk about that in our Gemini episode?
I think we did, but like I was just like, why is there 3?
Well,
Not 2,
well,
not
they have
one.
they have the
3.
regular one, they have the little one for kids, and then they have one that's a fast one.
It doesn't matter. They're all carousels. They spin in a circle and go round and round. They have animals on them. Like it's the same thing.
Where's that?
Like
Oh, what
I
did
bet
they
you
call
one's
that?
an antique of some type.
they're all
Here,
antiques.
this is the fast one, the Cedar Downs Racing Derby, which I had a lot of people tell me you have to do the racing derby over there, but we just didn't have time.
Yeah, it's a carousel. Merry-go-round.
So yeah, I don't know what the other ones are called. I think what'd you say, like antique something?
I'm just thinking maybe like it's
I
their
see what
original
you- yeah,
ones.
like one, yeah. with like an old like it has an actual organ on it and
something that might be wise.
It's whatever. 3. There's no point.
It's so funny. We did not do the water park at all either, which is, I mean, we barely.
We don't do a water park.
We don't really do water parks, so.
We just don't have the time.
It looks like a really good water park, though, like if you enjoy that, so. But, yeah. I'm just going to scroll through here. Yeah, I don't think we did anything really other than the transportation rides and the coasters, so.
Yeah.
There's the kiddie coaster there, or the kiddie carousel.
Again. Totally unnecessary.
So.
Maybe
And there you go, the midway causel.
Maybe I'm just opinionated, but just like I don't get the point of that.
So. Alrighty. Well, since we don't really have any flat rides or dark rides or anything to talk about, I guess we can just jump into the roller coasters, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the way we usually do this is we go to the Coaster Bot rankings and we'll work from the bottom up to the top. So, first one on here is Woodstock Express. I was the only one that went on this one, and it was just to get the credit, but...
I took a picture of you because you were like the only adult riding this coaster.
Well, there was other adults, but there was like they either had a kid with them. I was like,
it was embarrassing. It was
not embarrassing.
That's totally embarrassing.
It'd have been different if I what's the they have
Nathan on this like
they have
tiny
an actual
cart train and he's like going up the hill and all these kids are like. Whee!
Well, see,
Nathan's
what if I had done this one by myself? Because this one. This is their kiddie coaster, but you have to max height accompanied is 54 inches.
Yeah.
So unless I have a kid with me, I can't even ride it. So
that train one was so funny though, because there's all these kids and here's Nathan. I was like, Nathan, what are you doing?
I know the feeling.
You know the feeling.
When I went to Shanghai Disney, I wanted to ride everything, and so I'm like I'm this 45-year-old man on Dumbo by himself.
But you gotta say you did it.
Dumbo at Shanghai Disney. It's just, I had to get the credit.
You had to give the Dumbo credit.
I feel like more people do that though, because it's Disney, than Cedar Point going on this coaster.
Don't judge me.
Well,
I'm totally.
At least he gets to put a credit on some app. No Disney ride credit. Ride credits.
There should be. I totally feel like there should be.
So, it was fine. It was, I don't know, just a small coaster. So, it had a weird seatbelt that like he had to come in with a key to like open the seatbelt to let you off the ride. I guess they do that so like the kids just don't unlock themselves or something. I don't know. It's very strange. So I waited longer for that ride than some of the other coasters we went on. I don't know why. Probably because it's so slow because he has to come and...
I think I sat there just eating Dippin' Dots or something.
Probably.
Like on this coaster by yourself. I'm like, I'm not getting on that.
Woodstock Express for you. Okay. The next one, Cedar Creek Mine Ride. So this is the one, I'll pull up pictures. It's like it's kind of like Thunderation at Silver Dollar City, but older and rougher. If I remember correctly, this is the one that you barely fit in because of how tall you are, right?
It wasn't this one.
It wasn't this one?
This one wasn't much better.
Yeah. I think this one we basically walked on, if I remember correctly, and I think we sat in the front, and then you just went for like the very back, and so but there's like nobody
there,
so we could just like look back and see all the way.
Yeah, I did. I went to the back.
That was a fun ride.
It's fine. It's.
I think it was more funnier that like we were the only three, and so we turned around and we're like, "Hey, Jamie!" Like. So.
Yeah, that's.
I liked how that one was over the water.
I do like that. It's kind of picturesque in that sense that it goes over the creek, but It's definitely showing his age. What year is that? 1969. Yeah, so it's...
Even you're supposed to know that.
I don't have everything memorized. So, definitely kind of janky, but...
Janky?
Yeah, what's wrong with janky? It's a word.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Jamie's looking at a definition of janky.
What's the consensus?
Extremely poor or unreliable quality.
Oh, see? Janky.
Stand corrected.
So, I mean, I'm sure...
I wouldn't put it quite as very poor quality.
No, like, they're maintaining it fine. It's just... when they were building coasters back then, they didn't have the...
Yeah.
Like, everything was designed by hand, so the transitions are just kind of moving you all over the place, and the seats aren't that comfortable because people 60 years ago were skinnier than they are now.
True.
So, but it was fine. So, next is Corkscrew. You didn't do this one. You and I did this one.
This is the one.
This is the one
That was designed the wrong time frame. So,
but
I did not go on this one, and I'm grateful because you even told me, Haley, I'm glad that you didn't write this one because you would have hated it.
I mean, because you did Anaconda at King's Dominion, so it's the same model as that one. So I think you would have been fine. But it's also...
one look at it, and I was like, nope.
well, this is the one you were worried about because it was so low.
Oh, because that's what it was. It was so low to the
Exactly. I was
ground.
like, I'm not doing that.
The corkscrews came really close to the ground.
Absolutely not. I was like, it freaked me out. Don't know why it freaked me out, but it freaked me out. So I'm like, there's no way I'm getting on that. Yeah. So I let you guys do that by yourself, and I don't have a regret. So
This one was not designed for a 6'2" person.
No, it was not.
Could you imagine Colin getting on this one?
Oh, right.
Colin's 6'4".
Because if I remember, like, we get in there and, like, we pull over the shoulder strains, and it was fine, and then she came in, like...
She, like, yanked it down, and I felt like I shrunk by 4 inches when she pushed down on it.
Just, like, squished into the seat.
Yeah, and I was just, like... I thought I had become one with the seat.
It's
and
like
then I had to ride that one.
Yeah.
That's
I wasn't coming out, that's for sure.
No, you were stuck in there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure I was getting out.
At that point, you're more worried about going through the floor of the coaster than falling at the top.
I'm looking for rust on the bottom to see if I can fall through.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was not comfortable. So another one that's definitely showing its age. So
yeah,
and the layout wasn't even like, I don't know, for when it was built, it was a big deal back then because it was the first roller coaster to go upside down 3 times. But nowadays, it's like you go down a drop, go through a loop, U-turn, corkscrews, and then like just a long straight piece of track all the way back to the station. Meanwhile, losing feeling in your torso, like blood cut off from all the.
That is definitely a one and done.
Yes,
yeah,
certainly. I would
not get
every coaster credit.
Yes, certainly.
But if I went back, I would be like, no, I'm gonna stay off. I would stay off the ride with Haley.
I would be the same way. I enjoy taking pictures of this one more than I enjoy riding it, which happens occasionally. So.
Yeah. I feel like you have that with a couple of coasters.
I do have that with the food coasters. Corkscrew is certainly one of them. Next is Iron Dragon. This was one of the very first ones we did.
I have a hard time.
So that was the suspended one.
I don't think I did this one either.
Yeah, you did. I remember you did this one.
Did I?
Yeah, it was. If I remember correctly, I think this was the second one we did the first night. I think we did Blue Streak, and then we went and did this one right after we did Blue Streak. So, because that first day I was still kind of feeling under the weather, and I wanted to do some of the tamer things, and I knew this one was fairly tame. So, I don't know, it's fine. I enjoy the suspended coaster, because you've been on one of these before, right? Because there's one at Magic Mountain. I don't know if you had been on that one last time you went to
Yeah, I've been on a couple different suspended ones.
Okay,
I like them. I like them.
because I think is it Ninja? I think Ninja's the one at Magic Mountain, right? So
Well, they have a Batman too, I think. Or did. I don't know if it's called
Well,
Batman anymore or whatever.
they have Batman there, but I'm more like the ones that have like the swinging
the
cars
swinging
on them.
one, yeah. So
Yeah, because I think Magic Mountain has one of both of those. So.
yeah. I like the suspended. It's just different, right? Because
It's not as good as the Bat at Kings Island.
I loved the Bat.
The Bat was really good, but the Bat's also the newest one. So this one was fairly early on, so I think they kind of got bigger and faster as they built more and more. So, but it was fun. I like the kind of this moment right here where it comes down over the lake, and the only thing is they I don't think they had the fountain on when we were there.
The mountains being
and I know you can see it in one of these pictures. Which one was it? There's actually they have a fog machine down there that sometimes is on, which I think would be really cool, but it didn't.
I don't remember that at all.
They did not have the fog machine on when we were there.
Pretty cool. So
again. Another one, I wouldn't say that one's a one and done for me. I'd do this one again.
Sure, I would do.
It was tame, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was fine. So the next one is Blue Streak, which we talked about. The only wooden coaster at Cedar Point, which is weird.
Fun. It was just wooden coaster.
Yep, typical. We've been on a lot of wooden coasters throughout the summer. And I've heard a lot of people say how rough this one is, and I don't know. Maybe we just caught it on a really good day, but it was.
I thought it was smoother than some of the other boats.
It was certainly smoother than some of the other ones we've been on throughout the summer. So, I don't know. If maybe we just got a good seat. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't like smooth as glass because it's a wooden coaster, but I don't remember getting off like a little and shook my brains out.
Yeah,
so.
It was a good start to the adventure.
It was a good one to start on, and because again, like I said, I was not feeling good that night, and so. But this one wasn't.
You were still so excited to get on everything. Though.
I was like, we're doing this.
Sicker than a dog, and you're like, we're going. So.
I do like the paint job too. Like it's kind of fun to paint a wooden coaster something other than just brown.
Do you go back? You don't go. It's like there's a track right next to it, right?
Yeah, it like where's it? So you like start here and you come up over this hill and then it turns around and you go back this way. So like
and you're right next to it. So it's kind of fun just to be right back to. You're not necessarily going right on the same track, but
but just following it right back.
So close.
Yeah, so it was a good one. Yeah, I have no complaints about this one. So, the next one, Rougarou. You did not do this one because this is.
Remember why I didn't do that one?
It's got the over the head restraints like Wildfire.
This is like one of the last ones we went on.
I think it was the very last.
The very last one.
Either the very last one we went on or the very last one we hadn't done yet.
Gotcha.
I think it was the last one we had done yet, and then I think we went and did Steel Vengeance and Millennium
one more time. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. She did not write this one.
Yeah. So.
This is same makers as Wildfire.
Yes. Yeah. So the only difference is this one doesn't have a floor on the bottom of the car where Wildfire does, but that's basically the exact same model other than that. So
I was disappointed in that one. I have been a big fan of Wildfire and expected this one to be very similar to that one, but this was a lot jerkier.
Mm-hmm.
I know Haley doesn't like those overhead because she hits her head.
Yeah,
and
too
I
short.
hit my head multiple times on it, and so I was like, almost the last ride of the day, and I'm like walking around with a headache after it. So
that's
it just was.
He convinced me to go on.
But because I was disappointed because I knew it was that same design, and I was kind of expecting it to be pretty smooth.
What did you convince me to go on? Was it Great Bear in Hershey?
Great Bear, I got you to go on at Hershey Park, which has those same restraints, but
I mean, That one was still banging, but it wasn't.
It wasn't terrible.
terrible.
So Great Bear is an inverted coaster at Hershey Park,
You would
built
like
built by
Hershey.
the same company. So
I feel like Jamie would really
So,
like.
yeah,
Hershey.
so I mean, and normally I don't have that issue. I can only remember like a couple
Let's
coasters
see.
that I've been on where that has been an issue where I bang my head on the side. But this one just, I don't know, maybe my neck was really loose by the end of the day or something. But yeah, it was.
I do prefer
Felt like it wasn't as good as I expected. I expected
Yeah.
higher expectations based off of the designer. So
I was frustrated too because I really like the layout that they're trying to go for because it's kind of unique. They have what do they call it? It's here somewhere. Yeah, this where's my mouse? The 83-foot tall inclined loop, which is basically it's a loop, but then they're like tilted on its side like this. And that's not on very many coasters, and so it's kind of a unique element. But and it's longer than Wildfire is, but I rank Wildfire higher too, just because of how kind of rough it was. So, and to your point, it was built 4 years before Wildfire was, and so yeah, it was decent, but didn't blow me away.
I'd give it another chance. Maybe it was just the spot I was in
Yeah.
or something, that banged my head. But
I don't
so
remember
I'd give it a
where
chance.
we-
If I did it again, I'd be like, no, you're done. So
Yeah.
type of
I don't
thing.
remember where we sat. I don't
remember.
think it was front row.
I don't remember either.
So
Yeah, I don't remember.
that's Rougarou. And we have Gemini.
Yeah.
Gemini, this is the one that's
We had to try it twice.
no,
we didn't write it twice.
We had to get in line twice because it broke down while we were in line, and then they fixed it like 10 minutes later. Like,
As soon as we walked away.
yeah, pretty much. It's a racing track. So we did an episode about Gemini for Airtime
I
Traveler.
know we did, but now I'm struggling to remember this one.
You didn't like this one.
I didn't like
You
this
didn't like
one?
this one. You said it was
The
rough.
most important thing.
What?
We won.
We won.
We did win.
That's right. Didn't these there was like a couple other guys that were on this with us, and they were the racing train, and they were like,
Oh yeah, well, because they tried to reach out, and I didn't know what they were doing, and I learned later that you're supposed to give people high fives on the other train while you're going through the turnaround.
But
we
they
talked
were
about that in the episode that we did later on.
okay. I do remember it slightly now, and I do remember the nose rough. I probably won't get on it again. So
Yeah. It's I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Space Mountain if it was bigger, like not from obviously they're completely different from a theming and from a indoor versus outdoor standpoint, but like just it's a little rough, not smooth like modern coasters, but like I still enjoyed it. So
I could see your viewpoint if you Space Mountain obviously in the dark, so you don't notice
I think
it
that
as
helps
much.
me
Yeah,
ride
yeah.
it better.
So, but I have it. I think what do I? I think I have it in my top 50. I have it at 50, so it's barely in my top 50. So I enjoyed it, and I would go on it again. But again, kind of like Rougarou, I'm not completely blown away by it. What's interesting?
The line's good. I mean, you're able to.
Yeah.
Now, it was a little longer for us the first time because it broke down and we were all just standing there waiting, didn't realize what was going on. But the second time, we basically got right on really quickly. So
Yeah, we did.
I think that's good for that ride. So.
It does definitely have really good capacity because of running the double trains on it. So it was good.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting to the big ones. We got Valravn up next. Now, Haley has a funny story about Valravn.
That's right. Nathan did not tell me about this ride, anything prior to this ride before getting on it, and for some reason,
she didn't watch it at all.
No, I
either.
didn't even watch it because I was like, it's a roller coaster. I'm not going to watch it. And so I didn't know that it suspended you. So we get, up to the top after the lift hill, and it suspends you. And he's like, we got to get front row, of course. And so he puts us in the front row. and we're suspended. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, Nathan, it is broken. We're stuck here. Get me off
Haley's
this
worst
ride.
fear is getting stuck at the top of a lift hill on a roller coaster.
I can't. I will flip. I will be like, get me off of this. I will have a panic attack.
The day that happens will be the last time she rides a roller coaster
Yes,
with me.
I will never get on a coaster ever again if that happens to me. I'm like, no. So, you know, if they don't have an evacuation plan to get me off the coaster.
Oh, they'll have an evacuation plan. It just won't be fast enough for you.
Exactly. I'm like, I feel like, you know, we go to Disney, there's pretty much an evacuation spot at every, you know, twist and turn. We get, like, on this, though, and it gets stuck.
Look, there's stairs at the lift hill. Look, there's a path all the way over to the
put me down, because I would be like, I am not walking down those stairs. I am not. You better get me off this
even
thing.
even if you look at the
oh my
the
gosh.
brake run
I
here,
can't
there's like a
even-
little spiral staircase
I
that
can't
goes
even
down.
think about this right now. Like, I would be clutching the handrail, just like, please, just find me an elevator or something like.
So after the ride got going, what did you think?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Released
when it
But,
finally
like,
dropped.
it
Yeah,
freaked me out. Freaked me out.
so
I was like, what did you put me on? Like,
this is the first.
I was so mad at him too when we got off. I was like, what did you just put me on? He's
What's
like,
funny?
what?
What's funny is it didn't really even occur to me. It wasn't like I was doing it on purpose.
So
I figured you had watched it at some point, but
I don't know why I
we're
was
just in
thinking about
line,
watching
so-
it. I don't know. I
Too
don't know.
Too much TikTok that day.
Too much TikTok that day.
While we're in line.
Oh.
so we Valravn was fun because that was the first one we did the second day because we with our passes we got ERT in the morning for Valravn, so that was fun. We were able to just hop straight onto that one without really having to wait in line. It's the first dive coaster I've been on, so I don't know. When we get to my ranks, some of you that like to hate on Valravn are going to be surprised how high I rate this coaster. But I've always been a fan of the vest restraints.
I did like that.
As opposed to, instead of the big bulky, when they have just the handle and then the vest that comes down like this.
Yeah.
I love those. And
Yeah.
a lot of people,
Like that.
a lot of hardcore enthusiasts are like, you don't give as much airtime with those. And I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I just don't like banging my head back and forth.
Yeah.
And those...
I feel like if it had that restraint, I would have gone on.
I think you may have tried it, but
I don't
I don't know
know.
if you would have liked it as much as you did.
Yeah,
for
I
sure,
did like
so.
the restraints on this.
Yeah,
and
I
I
did
think
too.
that's why I liked it as much as I did, is because the restraints on it.
So,
I
it was a lot
still
of fun.
freaked out at the top, but
Oh,
That drop is awesome. Though.
it's
yeah.
awesome.
Bring it on.
If you knew what was
So
happening, you would have been like, this is going to be fun.
I have like two coasters I really wish we would have gone on twice, but we just didn't have time. One of them is I want to try Valravn in the back row. Because like front row is cool
like
because
in
you get to like
dark.
hang over, but back row I want to get flung over the top
I
as
feel
you
like
go over.
at night, too, would be a really fun ride.
What's the one at Knott's Berry Farm?
So that was one of my questions I was going to ask you, because we did hang time at Knott's Berry Farm, which is similar to this one because it also hangs you over the edge, but then that one has a beyond vertical drop.
Yeah.
I was curious if you liked that one better or this one.
I'd probably say I like this one better.
Really?
So, although they're both, I love this. I love this. The hanging there.
The anticipation of
yeah. Well, it's even like the barn swing at Silver Dollar City. I know you don't like it, but to me, it's the same feeling. You're just sitting there. In essence,
suspended in air. Yeah.
I love it. I love
So
just
good.
being able to just almost feel like you're free and just
I
hanging
do like
out
the
there.
barn swing.
So
So, I can only ride it one time because it does
Yeah.
make me a little queasy,
Yeah.
but I do like it. So.
Yeah. I also like this one more than Hang Time.
Yeah.
I thought this one was really good. So I think if Hang Time was, because Hang Time's like 150 feet versus this one's 200. I think if Hang Time was the same height, then maybe. But I mean, this one, because it's 50 feet taller, like you just get that much more on that first drop.
The one hang time. how do you get to the top of the hill?
The hang time has a vertical lift hill, which is cool.
That is
very cool.
That is
so
very straight up. It's like,
You'll have to take me one day.
I really do want to take you to Knott's Berry Farm. So
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
hang time is very similar to Fahrenheit.
Mm.
The only problem is with Fahrenheit goes upside down. Like, it has a ton of inversion, so I know that's why you haven't done that one. And Fahrenheit doesn't have a holding, like, it doesn't hold you at the top. You just go straight up and then straight over and then go into the rest of the layout.
Yeah.
So, but anyway. All right, so that's Valravn. The other one I really wish we would able to do again, which I think you said this too, is I really wish we could have gotten another ride on Gatekeeper and done front row on Gatekeeper. I wish we'd have been able to do that. So,
I think you guys like this one more than me.
yeah, for some reason, and again, this is just part of what I was dealing with being sick the couple days that we were there. This one made me really nauseous, but I try to give it the benefit of a doubt because I think we went straight from Valravn to Gatekeeper that morning, if I remember correctly.
Probably right.
And so we had gone on Valravn, and I was feeling a little nauseous, and then we got on Gatekeeper, and this one goes upside down 6 times, so I was feeling... But, like, I really did enjoy the layout, and it was the first time I've been on one of these wing coasters, so it was a unique experience. And also had the vest restraints on this one too.
I liked that, and I liked the it being off to the side, but the inversions were just a bit much for me. That's why I'm like, I will not go on
Steel Curtain.
No.
I can't even.
How many inversions? 12?
No, it's I think it's 9. 9 inversions.
Colin and Nathan went on this one.
So good.
And
so
Kenny
much
would,
fun.
and it's intimidating to even look at. You're like,
find a picture of that one.
what the heck? You would love it. You would love it. But I'm like, there is just no way you were getting me on that one. It's insane. It's huge. It's like really long, plus all these inversions. I'm like,
Oh,
no.
I'll find like a good overhead.
It's just it's such a long coaster. It takes up quite a bit of space. So
there's a good kind of view of some of it. So it like goes
like something I did on Roller Coaster Tycoon.
it really does. So it like goes through. There's like a
idea.
corkscrew way up here, and then it comes and does this little section here. And then it goes out over this way and does a barrel roll, and then the other way is that.
Oh, it's just it.
Yeah,
It's
so-
not the actual.
it's
There's another.
it's an
good one.
insane coaster.
So much fun.
I'm like, no way. No way. Like,
I liked Gatekeeper.
Pass out.
I didn't really pay attention. I knew it was there in the front, but I didn't pay attention to what it actually did.
Mhm.
Like I don't.
Yeah, too much TikTok that day, Jamie.
Yeah, me and TikTok.
I guarantee he doesn't even have TikTok on his phone.
No way. I don't have TikTok on my phone. I don't look up any roller coasters before I ride them. I don't want to know anything about them. And so I don't pay attention to it a whole lot. I just get on and completely enjoy the experience. And so when we got on it and the way it went through in essence, the gates, like, it did the inversion sideways through. I did not expect that because I hadn't really paid attention. I saw it, but I didn't really watch what it was doing. But to go through...
That was a cool inversion.
Yeah, that was it reminded me literally of what you'd see like on, I'll use Top Gun, where they're like fly through something type, that aspect, things you'd see on a movie, and that gave me that feeling of something I'm never going to experience in a jet, but to be able to twist through something to be able to make it through it like a jet.
It was cool.
It was a very cool
I thought
moment.
that was a really awesome piece of it. It wasn't as smooth, and I think it was because of the wing.
Yeah,
it had a lot of bounce, a little give, and so that's what I didn't like about it as much. Is I kind of felt like I was just like riding in the back of a minivan.
Just kind of like that.
Yeah, if you're in the very back seat in the minivan, you kind of get that little more bounce than everybody else does, and that's kind of what I felt that was. It was the only thing I didn't care about.
Motion sickness.
So it gave me a little bit of queasiness, which is so rare for me to get queasiness. So that gave me just a little bit. It wouldn't have kept me from riding it again. But it was still just kind of it was just a little, and it could have been the whole thing, just all different experience of it, but the concept idea.
I'm wondering if the front row would have been any different in the feeling.
Yeah, I am curious when we go to Dollywood how this one will compare to because Dollywood has one of these too. Yeah, this one's bigger because it was built after the one in Dollywood, but I'm just curious how it'll be. So
it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it was fun.
Very, very, very different. Very unique.
And very, very picturesque. And I love incorporating Gatekeeper into the front of the park. Like it builds the anticipation of going into the park, and I really liked
most definitely
that.
Yeah.
So that was a fun one. So then the next one is Raptor. Haley did not do this one. This is the inverted coaster. The green one on the edge or on the side of the middle.
Had too many inversions for me.
Well, that and it has the over the head restraints.
So I think I was just so sick at that point that I was like, I was like, no.
I'm just gonna go sit in the air conditioning at Starbucks, and
I think I did.
Exactly
I think I went into that Starbucks and just sat. Yeah, it was nice. It was able to get me off my feet. And I think I enjoyed that way more. So
this one has the outside loop in it, right?
Yeah. So it's where's the here's that loop right there.
Where you're on the outside of it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this one. Out of the inverted coasters I did this summer, it was my second favorite. And the only reason I liked Banshee at Kings Island was my favorite one because, again, Banshee has the best restraints. And Banshee's newer, so Banshee's bigger. And
Banshee was a lot of fun.
Banshee's really good. But this one I preferred it over Afterburn at Carowinds and Silver Bullet at Knott's Berry Farm. I thought this one was very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too as well. I like that aspect of it. Very different than just a feeling of a loop that's different than your normal typical loops that you do.
I thought it was a very striking, picturesque coaster too, very striking in color, and
it was fun to take pictures of it just because it goes. There's a path that goes
underneath it. Right?
I think it's hard to see in here, but there's a path that goes kind of underneath the loop, and so you can kind of get right underneath the coaster and get some cool pictures of it. So. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. The double, there's a double helix at the end of the ride where it's going downward as you're going through. So you just slowly feel all the blood just rushing to your feet.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. Yes, that was kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why do my feet feel so heavy?
My shoes are going to fly off.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Next?
We've got a hot take to drop here for you coaster enthusiasts that love on Magnum XL-200. So you did not do this one.
Why did I do this one?
I don't know, but I'm glad you didn't because it is way overhyped.
I think I remember you telling me that
Okay.
Did we do this one before we did the Millennium Force?
No, I think we did Millennium Force first.
Yeah, which made this one not as
well. And so you know how we talk about people like to give a lot of hate to Sky Rush and calling it Thigh Crush, right? Because of how much. Now you remember it. Now you remember it now.
Yeah, it definitely came later.
Yes,
it was later.
Yeah, it was one of the later ones we did. But because I have heard so many people talk about Magnum, the finale on Magnum is one of the best in the amusement industry because of the airtime that you get on. Because it was built in the 80s, like they don't like nowadays. Airtime hills are smoothed out like this, but back then it was just like up and then down, and almost like a triangle shape. And so that's kind of what. Let's see if we can find a picture of those airtime hills at the end. So that it's. Yeah, you're not really getting that.
You can see them. I remember them now.
I do remember them as well. Maybe I can find it on here. But I had heard that you want to sit in the third row in the front car. I had heard that that's the best place to sit in.
He did. He looked it up.
Oh my gosh. It felt like our legs were getting amputated. Like, it is just so painful. There, you can kind of see it a little bit there. Those airtime hills at the end, but it just was. I remember as we were going through that, kind of like almost pulling on the lap bar to try to keep myself from going up into it because it was just so uncomfortable. Like, I think you and I both got off. We're just like, we got bruises on our thighs.
It was painful. It was painful.
You guys are crazy.
If
I had known it hurt that much, I probably. Well, I knew still.
No, you totally would have done it.
He needs the credit. But yeah, it was. It definitely wasn't. It was definitely, and I think it's again. It just goes back to how you can see roller coasters have evolved over time, and it's not just about a thrill and speed. You have to put
it's
in
comfort.
It is
the thrill.
You know,
You want the comfort.
Yeah.
And I think if they put better lap bars on this, it would be better. Like if they put new trains on it and had the lap bars that say Millennium Force has, I think it could
I feel
work.
like a lot of coasters are that way anymore. It's like, ones that are built, a little bit older. Like, oh man, if they would just put new restraints on this would be such a better ride. Like,
new restraints are definitely way more comfortable than the restraints of the 90s and the 80s. And,
Yep. I agree.
So, it's, I don't know. And it's not smooth either, which, okay, it's, it was built in 89, so I get it. It's not going to be as smooth as some of the other ones.
Sure.
But
yeah.
To have it be rough and to have uncomfortable restraints is just like, oh. So,
yeah. And I know because it happened suddenly. Like we were just going.
I don't remember it being that bad.
Speed,
yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like, oh! And then as soon as you even thought about, like, you relaxing and going, that was hurtful, then it happened again.
Because I think there's 4 of those hills, like right at the end, just like boom, 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 boom.
But by around the 3rd or 4th one, I kind of was prepared. But
but the first 2, you're like, okay.
And the next ones, I'm like, okay, how do I protect myself? I can't jump out of the train.
I think the airtime on here is just as intense as the airtime on Phantom's Revenge. Because Phantom's Revenge is similar, where at the very end it just has small little airtime hills, but it's going so fast that those little hills are just so intense. But the lap bars are way better on Phantom's Revenge.
Wonderful.
So
you would love that ride.
It's a really
it's
good
one of my favorites.
It's built by the same company, so why can't they just put those lap bars on this?
Yeah.
So
you don't see that done. It's got to be some.
It's got to be way expensive
to change the trains out or something.
It's got to be so expensive to do that.
Because I just don't see it happening.
Because I would love for them to put vest restraints on like a Wildfire, but I don't think they will ever do it. I think they will tear out Wildfire before they do that.
Yeah.
So
it's so odd.
Yeah.
Something
overrated, and people are gonna cringe because I say that, but
oh well, they'll get over it.
All right, I think we got our top 3 now. So number 3, Millennium Force.
I remember this being so intense for me. Like I just remember that force. I mean, obviously force, but like I just remember like going down that first drop, and I was like, "Holy cow!"
So
I was like,
so
"This is totally intense right now." And it was fun, but I just remembered I did gray out on this one because it was just so much pressure. Like,
I had 3 coasters this summer that made me gray out. 2 that were like a little bit, and then 1 that was a lot. And the 2 that were a little bit were Sky Rush and this one.
Yeah.
So, and it was just that first overbank turn after the first drop. I just kind of, my vision just kind of went, whoa, and then came right back. So it wasn't.
I think I grayed out a couple of times.
Really? I only remember one time on this one, just that first overbank. Yeah. So. The one that got me a lot though was Intimidator 305 because that one, that one's crazy.
That one's nuts.
That one's the same height, but instead of going into an overbank turn, you just go straight into
down.
a turn.
It's insane.
Going like 90 miles
so
an hour.
Fun, but it was one of the most insane rides I've ever been on.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So. Did you ride this both times that we went? Because we rode it twice.
We did ride it twice.
I
don't know if you rode it the second time or not. I can't remember.
I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
it is so much fun.
Is this the one that has the step seats?
Yes, it has like the seats are like staggered so that you can still kind of see over the top of the people sitting in front of you.
That was pretty cool too as well. There's something different about it. So
yeah, Intamin is pretty good about doing that because I think
there's
another one? Not here, but. Oh no, they have Maverick too. I can't remember if Maverick had staggered seats or not. But I know Fahrenheit and Storm Runner at Hershey Park are like that too, where the seats in the back are kind of
just elevated just 6 inches or something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't. A lot of enthusiasts will say that Millennium Force is the best Giga coaster in the country, and
I like Intimidator better.
Well, and I rank it lower than the other three I went on, just because this one's the oldest one. It's gotten a little bumpy, not like, crazy. It's
going 90 plus miles an hour, so even my car's gonna bounce around a little bit.
Yeah,
but
miles an hour.
Because Intimidator 305 has a little bit of that too. I think it's just the Intamins have a little bit of a shakiness to it. Whereas Orion and Fury were just smooth as glass. Mm-hmm. But that's because, one, they're newer. Like, Fury was 2015 and Orion was just last year. So they're, pretty new still. And it's the same company as Wildfire, which they're pretty notorious for having really smooth coasters. So, but, I mean, Millennium Force still so much fun.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It's pure speed.
Oh, so much fun.
So I was like... hopefully a bug doesn't hit my eye at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I might go blind.
There's
They tell you to keep your mouth closed for
I'd rather get a bug in my mouth than in my eye at 90 miles an hour.
I've actually heard in the evening, don't ride Millennium Force in the front row. I've heard that before.
I wouldn't be surprised near the water like that. So.
It's mosquitoes. You'll just get like mosquitoes
like that could definitely be something that I would be like, just at that speed. It's
I
feel like we need to have like goggles, like riding a motorcycle.
Yes.
You want
oh my gosh! I dare you.
So.
Next time we go, I dare you to ride it with goggles.
There's a roller coaster in I can't remember where it's at. It's in oh gosh, it's in the Middle East somewhere, I think. But it's the fastest coaster in the world. It goes like 140 something. But it's because it's like out in the desert. You're required to wear. They have safety goggles. They have to wear it because of the sand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Huh. So that's what reminded me of that. But yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, you went on one. You went on. What coaster was it?
It was Diamondback at Kings Island. Or you think when I rode in the rain?
Yes.
Yes.
And you told me, you were like, my face hurts.
That was so dumb.
You told me your face hurts so bad.
It's a 200-footer, so it's not as big as this, but it goes like 75 miles an hour, and it wasn't pouring, but it was like a good drizzle, and it felt like I was getting hit with gravel.
You're crazy.
Horrible. I went in the shop afterwards, look at my picture, and I'm just like. Good stuff. Millennium Force.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, so then we got Maverick.
My favorite. Yeah,
spoilers.
Sorry.
This had the longest line, didn't it?
I think
this one certainly was the longest line.
We went on it this second day, though, we were the first people.
That's right. So, because you got to ride this one time, because we had to wait almost an hour probably for this one. Yeah. It was 45 minutes at least, 45 to an hour.
That's the ways.
Longest line we waited in for sure.
Yeah, we picked a really good week. It was perfect.
We did pick a good week. The lines, other than Maverick and Steel Vengeance, like the lines were really not a problem at all. So, but yeah, so we waited a long time for this one. I thought it was awesome.
It was so much fun. So yeah, this one definitely was above Steel Vengeance in my opinion. I don't know why. I liked this one better.
It was a lot of fun. I
love a good launch coaster.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm a sucker for a good launch coaster, and so it's similar to like Accelerator that we went on at Knott's Berry Farm. It's the same company, so they do really good launch coasters, and like this one I really liked because it had more of a layout, obviously, than Accelerator. Because Accelerator's just the launch up, does like a couple turns and comes back to the station. So, whereas this one actually, had a decent layout and a couple of launches. So,
yeah. This one seemed there was a lot going on. Like,
it's just all over the place.
Yes, you were just like, I'm doing. I haven't a clue where I've been and what's coming next. I just keep looping and spinning and dropping and running around. Yes. So it was.
I did like the view though. Like there was a good view off the lake right next to it.
I didn't remember even having time to look at a view.
The model that is it on here. Oh, they don't have it on here, but the model that Intamin uses for this coaster, they call them their Blitz coasters, and I could totally see that name is fitting of just like you're just all over the place. Because you go like up the launch into the beyond vertical drop, and then you like go through a couple airtime hills, and then into a couple of corkscrews, and then all of a sudden you're in the building. And then it shoots you off again.
That's what I loved. I loved that there was
a double this one. I can't even remember what it did. I just remember this one spot was off the side of it, and you're just kind of like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And I've seen other trains coming through before we rode it, and I was like, "Oh boy."
There's only 2 inversions on it, and they call it a twisted horseshoe roll because you come in and you go through a corkscrew, and then you make a U-turn. You come up and you do a corkscrew or a 0G roll. I think it's a 0G roll anyway. Same difference to the both of you.
Yes.
Yes. You're like corkscrew 0G roll. It doesn't matter. I went upside down and it wasn't a loop. But anyway, you go through once and then you make the U-turn and then you go straight into another one the opposite direction. And so it kind of makes a horseshoe shape. So, fun ride. That second launch caught me totally off guard.
I think that's why I liked it. Is it just
and one of the things that's interesting because for you guys that you prefer to ride it without watching, but I watch POV videos beforehand because I don't know. People are different on whether they want to be surprised or prepared. And
you're your mom.
Sounds about right. And in the video that I watched on the Cedar Point YouTube channel, they come into that second launch and actually slows down and stops for a couple seconds and then launches. And so when we rode it, I imagine what happens is if it gets to that point and there's another train ahead of it, it slows down and waits for that train to clear the section that it's in. But I guess they were, pumping them out so fast when we did it. When we got to that launch, it just was like... send us straight into the second launch, and I was not prepared for that.
It was fun.
But it was awesome.
It was so fun. Yeah. I think the second day we rode it too was just like a lot of fun.
Well, so the second day,
the second or third train that went like.
Well, the reason for that was we got into the park with our ERT. Like we got it. There wasn't any ERT for Maverick, but we were like, well, we'll get into the park early and we'll just go wait at Maverick, so we don't have to wait in line.
Yeah.
And we get there, and there's like. Probably a couple hundred people waiting out in front of it. Like other people had the same idea we did. But we still figure it's probably only like a 15-minute wait at that point. Well, we get to 10 o'clock, which is when the park opens regularly. The ride didn't open 10:15, 10:30. By 10:30, they were like, yeah, we're not sure when it's going to open. So people started bailing. And I think finally 10:45, they started testing trains. We started seeing trains go around the track, and so we're like, okay, we're gonna stay here. And I don't know what time. It probably was like 11. They finally opened it, so we ended up waiting an hour. Regardless, but once they let us on, like she said, we're like the second or third train to go on. So
it was fine. I felt like the spot that we were waiting to was like not super crazy.
No, it wasn't too bad. So,
but yeah, I liked it. There's a little gift shop at the end of it too. Like I thought that was fun.
It was fun. So.
Yeah.
Fun ride. My only problem with Maverick is it's so hard to get pictures of it. Like there's not really any paths. It's kind of back on its own, and so like you get a little bit right on that fence line over by Steel Vengeance,
like
and then if you ride the train, you get a little bit because the train goes right past it. But like both times we rode the train, I think if you remember this, I wanted to ride the train that third day we were there just so I could get pictures of Maverick. And then when we rode it, I got pictures, but nothing with trains in it. Like no trains came by while we were. I was like, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get pictures of.
Yeah.
All right, and that brings us to our final coaster. We got Steel Vengeance.
I'll let you boys talk about it more.
Well, you still enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. I just, you guys are like the crown jewel.
Well, so this, I don't even think I've talked about what my number one coaster is because I never got around to my Carowinds trip report.
Yeah.
But Fury 325 is my number one.
I knew that.
Steel Vengeance is my number two, and Maverick is my number three.
Right.
So to me, they're like both like right there.
Yeah.
But Steel Vengeance just has the edge for me, and ultimately what it came down to was just Steel Vengeance is a longer ride. Because I enjoy them both for different reasons, but since Steel Vengeance was longer, that was like the one thing that kind of gave Steel Vengeance the edge for me. But
for some reason, I liked Twisted Timbers more than I liked Steel Vengeance.
Now, I'm curious if you have any idea why.
Honestly, I think it was too long for me.
Really? Because like by the end of it, you're like,
okay. I think I was just whipped after the ride. I was like, this was just too much for me. But Twisted Timbers, because of how quick and short it was.
Well, because Twisted Timbers is like the same idea, but half the size. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. So
I don't know. I know everybody's different, but that's like kind of, I feel like what my viewpoint was. Oh. Fun. A lot of fun, but I only went on the one time. I think you guys went twice, didn't you?
We did go twice.
Yeah.
And well, if it was too much for you, then maybe you wouldn't have enjoyed it. Because I think my favorite ride was the second one that we went on when we did front row. Yeah. It was awesome. The airtime was even more intense in the front row, which is it's a strange thing with like older coasters. You pretty much always say back row, back row. But nowadays, with the more modern coasters, and they're getting faster and more intense, like sometimes they're just going so fast that the front, you have so much speed that you're not even slowing down when you get those airtime hills. So the front row is going the fastest when you get there. So front row actually gets the better airtime. It's kind of a weird. You don't get it on the first drop, but everything else you had, better airtime, and front row was awesome. But yeah.
It's speechless. Yeah. It was an incredible ride.
Yeah.
Incredible ride. It was.
I do remember you getting off, and you boys were like giddy, and I was like,
so good.
So good.
There's never been a roller coaster I won't ride at least once.
Mm-hmm.
There's some I won't ride a second time, and it's not because of fear.
It's because of
comfort.
Yeah, well, they slamming you into the shoulder restraints.
And, and you get on, you look at this thing and you just even seeing pictures of it, and you're just like, oh my goodness gracious. And it was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
I love that
awesome ride.
Nathan's wearing his Steel Vengeance hat.
I did wear my Steel Vengeance hat for this.
I loved how you how it's designed. I love how you're going through the roller coaster so many times.
Cool.
Like, it's not just like, the steel placed on top of a bunch of wood. I mean, you're like, going right through a lot of the wood, and it's just, it's an awesome ride that you didn't know what was coming at you.
No.
It was so
That's-
fast.
Yeah.
So many different, whatever, geeky terms there are on it that I don't have. I don't know the geeky terms. I just know.
That's okay. I don't either. He
Elements.
only does.
So many different elements.
The
Oh, dear
elements
heavens.
were it was amazing. I'd ride it over and over again. It is incredible.
So much.
It's
much fun.
It's by far, it's my favorite ride that I've ever been on, but I obviously haven't ridden on as many as you have.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's well worth it. I'd go back there just to ride this ride again.
Yeah.
So
It's the coasters that RMC is building
They're
is just
incredible.
they're in like that's the best word I can use. They're incredible.
They're
So there's so
I'm
many
so
that
excited
yeah.
for Hershey's. Like
because Wildcats Revenge is going to be
so
super
good.
So there's I do think Steel Vengeance is probably still considered by many to be the crown jewel of all roller coasters. A lot of people would argue for Iron Gwazi, which is the new one that just opened last year in Tampa at Busch Gardens. Same company built it, but it's shorter. Some people say it's shorter but more intense. So it's kind of like what's your preference, a long ride or a more intense ride. But like this one going through the wooden structure, I can't think of any other ride that does it the way that Steel Vengeance does. Because there's like a good 15-20 seconds where you're just diving in and out of the wooden beams and going upside down and all.
Right.
Like,
I've been on coasters that go into each other, but
it's
not
only for like
anything
a
to
second or
extent,
two.
right,
Yeah.
of this, yeah.
Yeah, because even Outlaw Run does that. It crosses back underneath the lift
Right.
hill,
yeah.
but it's like
Kennywood
again, it's
has
only for a
one.
second.
Kennywood has one too. That like
The racer kind of does that. It kind of dives in and out of the support structure. And Jackrabbit, I guess, a little bit. But
There's another one. That's the white one in the back.
oh, Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
So
It was just, yeah. I don't know. I like to, when a lot of times you think, oh, it's a wooden roller coaster, and you have this potential of, it's more jerky, and it wasn't that way.
yeah.
It didn't give you in any way,
Well, because I remember you being caught off guard a little bit because we got on, and as we were getting on, you asked if it was the same company as Outlaw Run. Just because as we were putting the restraints on, I think you recognized it was the same restraint system as Outlaw Run. And so I think your assumption at that point was it was going to be kind of rough and jerky like Outlaw Run was.
Yeah.
But, and then I think afterwards you and I were able to discuss that like Outlaw Run is their wooden version of this, where this is the steel one. So this one is way smoother than Outlaw Run is. So, which makes it better in my opinion. But yeah. So good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic ride.
Yeah.
So.
I think my favorite moment on the ride. So as you come down this first hill, you go over the first airtime hill, and then the second airtime hill you go over is actually off axis. It's kind of like this. So you like go up, and so it kind of like flings you to the left as you're going out of your seat, and then it dives to the right and just kind of like jerks you back down.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy moment.
It's to me when you're riding in the front and you are on this roller coaster and you just see this steel metal in front of you,
Mhm.
right? And in your brain wants to think kind of like a train
Mhm.
where it sits on top of the metal, right?
yeah.
But obviously this doesn't just sit on top.
Yeah.
It's got it's grasped underneath,
Mhm.
right? But when you see it, you think of a train.
Yeah.
Just like trains shouldn't be able to
do that,
this,
yeah.
where you can go to the left and not fall off, or go to the left and then the right real quick,
Yeah.
or upside down.
Yeah.
Trains don't do those things, and I think that adds to the kind of fun excitement of it as well, because you're just like this is a train, but it's not really a train. So this is.
We had purposely waited to go on Steel Vengeance because the way it worked out is I ended up hitting 100 credits at Cedar Point. And so we purposefully planned it out that Steel Vengeance would be coaster number 100 for me. And it was totally worth it to do it because it was just that awesome. So
Perfect 100th ride.
It was. So I will also just a shout out to Cedar Point's operations because one of the things we were
I was going to mention that too.
we were a little concerned about was with Steel Vengeance you have to, because of the airtime, people kept having cell phones fly out of pockets, and so they implemented a metal detector to keep, which they've been doing on a couple of their rides. Twisted Timbers is the same way. And but my dad has a pacemaker, and if you're not familiar with how pacemakers, like, one of the things, you can't go through metal detectors with a pacemaker. So like even when you go to the airport, you have to go like a separate way, right? Like,
okay.
And so we were concerned about that, like if he was even going to get to ride Steel Vengeance, and obviously, it would be a bummer to go there and not get to ride their headline attraction. But fortunately, they have a system where you can go in through the exit of the ride, and they will just take your name down, and then I think they just scanned us with like a handheld metal detector, which you can do those.
We had to take everything out of our pocket,
Yep.
and they stored it for us. So.
And then they just take us in through the back, and and it was perfect. So
It was perfect.
So
yeah, it was. I really appreciate it. They did that, and I would. I mean, it was a little bit shorter the line that we would have been on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind waiting the length of the time I would need to, but it was obviously a little bit shorter. It just basically as a disability pass in essence.
Essentially, yeah.
So, but they did that well. Where we've been placed, I'll pretty much been the same place. Another place where they didn't do that. They basically just told me, "Too bad, you just can't ride these rides."
That's right. When we went to Universal Studios, I remember that
in Florida and Orlando. They just I couldn't ride rides. They wouldn't let me ride them at all.
I think Rip Ride Rocket and
Rip Ride
Incredible
Rocket.
Hulk.
I couldn't ride Incredible Hulk, and then I think there was one other that I couldn't ride. They just said, and they said it had to do with the powerful magnets, and I've done research. It has nothing to do with the magnets. Magnets aren't going to do anything to it. It's just they got. Now they may have changed then because
that's true. That was
5 years,
6. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 actually. Just pretty much.
Weren't even married yet.
Yeah, pretty much exactly 6 years ago this month.
So they may have updated it since then, but
that's true.
So that was the first time I couldn't ride a roller coaster.
You were so sad. That's okay. You could have taken my ride.
Well, Hulk that I would have wanted it on. So
I don't think you rode Hulk, did you?
No, because I was like done after that. I was like, after Rip Ride Rocket, I'm like, I'm not.
That was the first ride we
walked in. Well, because we walked into the park and it's right there. And we're like roller coaster, and then
and I couldn't go on. We didn't know at that time. I'm in line and getting ready through, and they're like, "Get out of here!" So they ride.
I passed out so bad on that.
I've
never passed out ever again after that. But like that ride,
Ailey went down for the count. I couldn't.
You did ride another roller coaster while we were there, though, because you went on Escape from Gringotts.
I did, but I was very sick too. I was just
that was a lot smaller than
the other ones. But I was just like, I can't do anymore else. I would go back to Universal and get on that one again, but try the other ones, but I didn't get to go on. But
all right. Well, at this point, we usually will give our rankings. I
have my rankings.
Well, I rank all of them. I don't expect other people to be as in depth as I am, so maybe I could give my full rankings up to number 4, and then you guys could give your top 3s if you have that in mind. So 14, I have Woodstock Express. So I don't know, it's just too small. So
I'm gonna go find that picture. I'm gonna go find that picture.
I have Corkscrew next because that one was just uncomfortable and boring. That's not a good combination. Cedar Creek Mine Ride is next for me at number 12. And then I have Blue Streak at number 11. Iron Dragon at number 10. Somebody's going to kill me for this, but I have Magnum XL-200 at number 9. Most people would probably have a number 4 or 5 in the park, and it is just...
Yeah.
It's too painful.
It needs to be lower, so...
Yep. Then I have Gemini at number 8. Rougarou at number 7. Gatekeeper at number 6. And then Raptor number 5, I really liked Raptor. I had a lot of fun with that one. So, and then my number 4, which is also probably lower than most people, is I have Millennium Force at number 4. That being said, Cedar Point rides rank. Most of them are ranking higher than, my number 4 at Cedar Point is still my number 14 overall. So, I mean, that's still really high compared to, all the other things I've been on over the summer. So, all right.
What's 3?
So, my number 3 is Valravn, that dive coaster.
Yeah.
So,
Mine was 3 too.
The Valravn is your number 3. So, and for me, like, and maybe it's because it's the first dive coaster I've been on. I know that there's other ones that more people generally rank higher. But I'm a sucker for those Vester strengths. Maybe that's what it is. So it's a very comfortable ride, but also that 200 drop off the lift hill is just awesome. So
I'd agree. I think on the same on the 4 and 3 on those for sure.
Or as you put Millennium Force at 4 and Valravn at 3?
I'd probably say the same thing. Although it's just pure speed, but and the other thing is maybe not as.
I think I deleted the picture.
You deleted it?
I think I deleted it.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah, I mean it's fun as Millennium is, but it's also just speed.
Yeah.
Versus adding other elements.
Good job.
Look at you.
Look at you. Getting fancy over here.
I'm getting geeky.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I have Maverick at number 2.
I have Steel Vengeance.
Yeah, Steel Vengeance at number 2.
Maverick.
Maverick 2, and then switched for the other. Yeah. So that's interesting. That's a pretty good. The 4 of us or the 3 of us had the same 4 coasters in the top 4, just in slightly
I just find it
different
funny
orders.
that like Valravn was still number 3, even though it freaked me out. But I loved it after I knew what it was supposed to do. That
knew it wasn't broken.
Yes, I was like, okay, this was a lot of fun. I would do it again, but like, I still remember that sheer panic. I was like, oh my gosh.
I love it. Good stuff. And heartbeat, bring it on.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I'm excited. All of us will be going to Dollywood in a few months. So that should be fun. We'll give a trip report from those trips and the other ones we got coming up this year. But thank you for tuning in to this trip report from Cedar Point. It was a fun trip, and obviously I think we're now caught up on our trip reports. We really didn't get to do one for Carowinds or Kennywood, but maybe I'll just do that on my own at some point.
Yeah,
I don't know. So, or maybe you and I do it, and I just tell you about the trip. I don't know. We'll see if we get around to a Carowinds trip report. But we wanted to at least get the Cedar Point one because of how big of a trip that was, and how the coasters there were just awesome. So thanks to
shout out to my parents for watching Parker while we went.
No, my mom watched Parker.
Oh, that's right. But
we stayed at your parents' house, and they let us borrow a car.
Yep.
And then my mom watched Parker for us. So that was nice. We were worried like taking Parker with us and the 3 of us trying to manage parent swaps, and it just was going to be a pain. So that made a big difference in our trip for sure. So
was that your first trip away, Parker?
No.
Well, you've done like day trips and stuff like that while you're in Pennsylvania, though. Huh? So.
Yeah, we did Hershey.
Well, I guess that's true. We did
the Hershey.
That's definitely
overnight.
The furthest we've been away from him.
Yeah, furthest, but like we've done Hershey overnight.
Furthest and longest, probably.
Yes.
But we went to Hershey for a couple days and left him with Haley's parents, or Haley's mom, I guess.
Yep.
So, but.
Yep.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this trip report for the Airtime Traveler, and thanks to Haley and my dad for joining us for this trip report. So,
you're welcome.
Yeah. In case you haven't heard, season 2 of Airtime Traveler is starting Thursday, April 6th.
You mentioned that.
So I mentioned it a couple times on social media, once or twice. So be sure to tune in. We'll be doing more hilarious customer reviews and ridiculous
Oh, I'm so
newspaper
excited for
articles.
So the best part.
Yes, customer reviews are the best. So, yeah, lots of stuff. And obviously the new parks we're going to this year, we'll be going to Dollywood, Kentucky Kingdom, Holiday World, and hopefully Lagoon. We'll see. That one's kind of up in the air right now. But at least 3, hopefully 4 new parks, which give us a lot more content we can talk about here on the podcast. So that'll be exciting. Be sure to go and follow us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Airtime Traveler. And I think we will call it there, and we will see you guys in the next episode.